Heyo, and welcome to an Ark Survival Ascended speedrun. This speedrun is going to be done on the easy preset for Ark Survival Ascended on the Scorched Earth map. Now, normally I have the commentary, the live commentary, and then I might occasionally just add something extra. But for this video, I actually didn't say anything until the final boss. The reasoning for that is, well, I'll get to that later. So this is one of the only 2 spots that you can spawn that is viable for the run. There's maybe 10 different spots that you can spawn, but this is basically one of the only 2 spots that you can spawn at the beginning of the game. So what we're just going to do is we're going to grab all the notes here. There is a total of 5 notes that we grab in this beginning section. And I have a decent start here, but it's not like my best start. I did edit my route slightly at this point, so it's slightly slower starts than my best. So yeah, we make sure to grab a lot of fiber here. Grabbing the fiber now saves us. So a lot of this run comes down to RNG, and that's not very good. But yeah, so later on when we fight mantises, the hope is that we pull a metal tool, because like basically what tools you get off mantises determines the entire rest of the run. Like literally, like that's just like this. If you get a metal pick, you can do a different run than if you got a sickle, which means I didn't need to collect all the fiber, but it's better to be more ready for that. So yeah, but everything that happens in this run is entirely dependent on 2 things: what happens in the first 10 minutes, what I drop, and what RNG we get with the Manticore and the T-Rexes that we find. So it's a massive RNG check at the beginning and a massive RNG check at the end. So it's kind of brutal because it's like you keep playing over the middle over and over when you get it, and then you just lose it. Anyway. So yeah, so I whip up a pickaxe here, put level ups. Normally I try to go for a little bit over 500, or specifically 520 health. But in this case I didn't. I just went for a more balanced stat spread, which is fine. I should explain. So the runs that you see, so you'll see the left column will be our I believe it's called Delta for my personal best, and the right column is the personal best. Now, you may be thinking, why do you have a personal best? That's a good question. So normally I upload these runs, the first one I get, and then I collect feedback with the intention of going back and redoing it, and with ideas, because Ark is a big game. It's not that easy to just have the best run in the first time, right? I don't think there's any games where the speedrun is you find it in the first attempt, the best route. So I'm just learning the ghillie here because we're going to make ghillie. The other tools that we're looking to get are like that you can get an electric prod, which is not that helpful, but like kind of. You can get a sword, which is good. Pike is very good. Metal pick or hatchet is very good for later in the run, less helpful in the beginning. Hatchet is slightly better in the beginning. The sickle is good for uses. A whip is also good for the same reason a sickle is good, for fiber. But other than that, and a bow is useful, and trank arrows. So all that stuff, all is stuff that we need, and you could get all of it or none of it. It all depends on what you drop. So yeah, so we didn't get a ton of poly off of that mantis, but that is what it is. So yeah, so basically the rest of the run is fairly simple route-wise. If you could just look at the timer. So it's just the notes. Then we grab this first artifact, we run out, and we actually just run straight to the old tunnels. So while these settings do make a lot of things easier, it's very true, some things they make really, really difficult, which is the Manticore boss fight and the taming things. So the food consumption is 0.25. So although the taming multiplier adds up to 12, and yeah, 12 total, after you apply single player on top of the other taming multiplier, what effectively happens is you still have to wait. You have to wait basically 4 times as long for something to eat once. Now I don't understand why they did it, because all the dinosaurs are low level. So you're gonna tame them anyway really fast. So it's like, why would you just make it take longer? Unless you're just trying to reduce food consumption, but it's a really dumb system. Anyway, so it's not time efficient to tame anything that can't be passive tamed, or if you didn't start taming it before we enter here. And so there it is. So I got a whip and a sickle. Not the best, not the worst. It's in the middle, but it's good to have. Like, it's not make or break the run, but it's save a couple minutes. So at this point I realized I need to make parachutes, or air shoots as I like to say, and I realized I don't have enough thatch. So this is one of the kind of 2 major, well, you could say major, it's 1 minute time saves in the run, is that I ended up just not RNGing out enough thatch on the trees up there, which is unfortunate, but like it's not too much of a loss here. It's pretty in and out. Yeah, the tree thing works good, so. But yeah, so after this we just run straight to the old tunnels, and as you can see, I only make it there about half the time that I make it out of these caves. Sorry, that's incorrect. I make it there about 2/3 of the time. I don't make it out of here, like at least 1/4 of the time. I don't make it out after I grab this artifact, basically. And because of all the uncertainty, that's why I didn't really have any commentary to start with, is because you say the same thing over and over and over again, right? And because if you're just recording it live, so it makes sense to just do it post commentary instead. And arguably you have a much better viewpoint on what's going to happen in the run. So this, I think this one goes pretty smoothly, this like exit. This bit here is really well, I've done this like 20 times, so yeah. Anyway, so I just exit here. This is about where the animals stop existing. There's like points where they start and stop existing. Normally it's lighter on your way in because stuff hasn't spawned in yet, because it's pretty fresh. And you gotta be really careful that you don't poke an Arthro, because if you do, the reflect you take is massive. Because remember, they take headshot multipliers from your melee weapons too, right? And when you stack that with your melee damage and the player damage, they take so much damage that you basically just nuke yourself from orbit, basically. It's like a gigabyting something that works the entire time here. So you can't just go and just poke everything. Yeah. So I made it out pretty nice, pretty smooth. Could have been slightly better. I need to make some parachutes here. So you need 4 parachutes. 4 to 5, you might need another one later, but for the, like, to save as much time as possible to get into the old tunnels. So it might seem like you should be doing the old tunnels by entering the side way, but I've found that it's a lot faster if you go in with parachutes. You save a lot of time, and you just do. So it's very nice that we can do parachutes down. And the other reason why I don't normally make it across, well, not normally, but why I don't tend to, is not because I get killed by anything. It's either because of a weather event, like a sandstorm. There's almost always one weather event that plays in the next 5 to 10 minutes, like in the opening part when you start the game. Usually you'll never get it in the first 5 minutes, and you never walk up out of here in the first 10 minutes with the weather event, but like you can. Yeah, so I was really curious how the ghillie broke here, because I don't remember getting hit by an arthro, and so anyway I have to do this with one ghillie piece. But anyway, and I didn't even see it when I was in recording. It must have been that last spit must have somehow hit me. But so yeah, so it's crashes actually, weather events and crashes. If you're in first person, when you walk into certain areas of the game, I find, because I do this like repeatedly, right? Like you'll do the same thing. You'll crash the game in first person. That's very weird and very annoying. I find it mainly going in and out of dark to light or light to dark areas when you're in first person seems to be like what does it. So hopefully that gets fixed with 5.5. I assume it's an engine issue. Also, I gotta say, just the ability to pull out your map without slowing down is great. Not that I really need it, but it's good for, like, if I'm thinking about the drop locations and stuff. Oh, that's the other thing. So not only is there a lot of kind of big RNG with the RNG that you'll see with like the initial drops, you'll see a lot of big RNG with the drops, like the drops, and that's honestly the biggest thing. If you pull a Rex saddle that's 50 armor or higher, you basically, like, as long as you don't mess up the dragon talons and you can find a Rex, you basically, like a Rex that's at least level 10 or 11, you guarantee a significant chance of victory. If you pull any kind of metal structure, it's a massive time save. At any point, if you get narcotics, that's a big time save. At any point, if you pull stimulants, it helps with the boss fight a little bit. But I've multiple times, yeah, okay, a little bit, it does help. I thought about waiting for this one. I decided not to. My reasoning is, this run isn't going perfectly, but it's also not going horribly. Yeah, so this is normally the area where if you're gonna crash, you're gonna crash on the way there. It should have happened like 10 seconds ago, but it didn't. But so that's nice. I've gotten decent at the nav along here. You can go higher or lower. It doesn't matter too much, assuming you don't slip where I just slipped. So. Yeah, so this part's kind of boring. We're just kind of running there. You parachute down. In the cave, nothing actually spawns until you leave. There actually is a really weird thing in the cave when we get there. So along the way here, you can get drops that land by the time you get over there. And you can get good things. I've got also any like compound bow, good crossbow, good pike. Any metal structure, any metal, it's all good, right? All of that will save us time. It's actually a little bit funny because it's why I like, actually, I've decided I generally like speedrunning on ASA more than ASE despite the instability, because the drops have so much potential basically. Like there's so much time save that's theoretically possible if you get good drops. And it like introduces a degree of randomness, more randomness, but the game is already super random. But it introduces a degree of, like, for competitive speedrunning, the game is not good. For fun speedrunning though, the game is great because you never know how you're gonna have to change it, right? Like there's even one run where I was seriously considering Megatheriums because I got Megatherium saddles. No, not Megatherium saddles. I got so much cementing paste off of getting a turret. No, sorry, rocket turret. And that had enough stuff in it. I was like, okay, I could do Megatherium saddles. There's 2 Megatheriums right here. I didn't go for it. But like, it would have theoretically been viable strategy, especially with the death worm. I think that gives you the bug killer buff. So in the arena, so it actually would have potentially worked, right? So I really appreciate that element of speedrunning this game. The fun randomness of it is really kind of refreshing from ASE, where the drops were never worth it, right? It's the other strategies that you could play. Like if you pull a metal pick, I would have gone after oil bugs on my way here, and we would have made a crab pod. So that would have saved Rex navigation time. We can grab the crystal in this cave here, and it saves time if we have to make metal for the Rex saddle, if we don't pull metal. So you kind of you can't just do one route, you have to be playing it by ear. So nothing happens really much in this cave. Obviously we just parachute it down. It's a very simple linear cave, you just run in, run out. Only once have I ever seen a loot crate in here spawn where I could pick it up. Oh, and yes, here it is, the Morellatops. This guy has no reason to be down here. Like, Morellatops don't get down here, they don't spawn down here. So the fact that he's down here is like really funny to me. But yeah, it's pretty simple in and out for this cave. And so is the Grave of Tyrants. But actually, I forgot to say, that's another kind of RNG check. Is you have to have an Argentavis spawn, and preferably a higher level one. Now, thankfully, we got by with a level 1 Argentavis, but it's risky. Yeah, this is a major time save right here. Like, actually just massive time save to be able to parachute down. I was just trying to see if maybe I could pick it up with a whip, just out of curiosity. But so yeah, other things that you might want to just remember before I complain about dinosaur levels in the Manticore is that if you're going to do this, make sure that you're under 50% weight for the entirety of this running portion. It does add up if you're not under 50%. So you can be a little bit over 50%, but for the most part, you should stay under 50% to maintain the ideal running speed, right? Because if you have to run this far, you want to have the speed. And that is a gold split, so I haven't gotten one in a minute. It felt nice to get that. So that means it's my best going from Ruins of Nosti to old tunnels, and that's true. I haven't had a one that was that clean, even though I fell into the water with the raptor and had to repair clothing. We were basically undisturbed on our entire way here. So this is where we would grab crystal for the crab pod, and we'd grab the oil from the guy, and we'd basically already have the poly normally. So altogether, it's like the main, and then like what, cook 2 pieces of metal, and we have all the stuff that we need, right? So yes, so I should mention another thing that bugs me here. So the settings and stuff are quite boosted, right? You can kill the Manticore with one T-Rex. If you got it one T-Rex, you put enough melee on there, you can kill him with one T-Rex. Here's the problem. You cannot stay awake with a level 1 T-Rex. Right? So the Manticore does so much torpor. But okay, I should explain another thing real fast. So normally, when you have single player settings, the damage a boss deals is reduced by 3 times. And the damage it takes is increased by 3 times. So that is one thing that single player settings does. There's a lot of myths around single player settings. That's one thing that it does, is it's those things I just said. So it makes them a lot easier, right? But the Manticore, I think it works differently. I forget exactly how, but the way it works is a little bit different. But one, it works with projectiles. So I feel like the Manticore's health doesn't scale quite with those multipliers. But the thing that you need to know is that the projectiles that it does, and I've seen this with the Broodmother, don't seem to be nerfed. Okay, so the other thing on this preset is that the difficulty is 0.2. And what that means is the highest levels that you're going to see are 30 on like the 4 integral maps to, I think that would normally have 120 to 100 and to, how do I say, instead of being max like 120 on maps like that and max 150, it becomes max 30 and I think 40 or 36, 38, somewhere around there. And what this means is that if the projectile is unnerfed, right, so it doesn't deal 3 times less, and the torpor that it deals isn't nerfed then, but the dinosaurs you have to bring have a low torpor to start with because they're at the absolute best, and you guys know how hard it is to find a max level on Scorched, right? Like it's like the island. It's not like Reg. It's not even distribution. It's bell curve. So there's less of them, very very much less. So you basically, it's all stacked against you. If you bring a level 1 T-Rex in there, I've tried, trust me, you will not make it. It will get knocked out so fast. There's nothing that you can do about it. So, what does this mean? Your entire run comes down, unless you got amazing saddle, down to the level of the T-Rex that you can find. You need at least level, the lowest I've done it with is 18, and that was the T-Rex falling unconscious after getting amazing RNG. It fell unconscious. Split second after I killed the boss. Like, I was dismounted within 5 seconds. Yeah. I should just mention really quickly, all I'm doing here is just making a club. I was just picking up stuff, just making a club. We're gonna go and tame an RG in a second here. Making a trank arrow. So, yeah. So even though everything else in the run you can do perfectly, if you can't find a T-Rex that is high enough level, at least one of them, if you want to do it with just one Rex, I'd recommend a higher level than 18. You will be in for a treat. the next thing too is that you acquire the T-Rex. You acquire the Manticore to land, right? And that's really annoying from personal experience. The Manticore does not always land. Now I sort of mess up the first few here. They don't go as perfectly. Yeah, I just didn't have my bow in the right spot and I didn't want to waste my only arrow, so I just pivot and pick a different RG in a sec here. So yeah, it makes it a very frustrating experience to know that everything just comes down to you hitting a very rare Rex spawn. And it's not like you have time to just sit there and cycle through Rex spawns for a while. Like, you need to get it very fast, very quickly. It has to be a certain level. And that's very frustrating for sure. So yeah, that's kind of why there's no commentary here. Is because at this point it's pretty frustrating to do this. No. Oh yeah, I pulled a pike here. That was like great. Now you might be thinking, at this point, yeah. So I don't think I got this one either, actually. This RG? Yeah, I don't think I do. Yeah, no, I don't get this. At this point, I kind of realized this run I should probably be doing. I should probably be doing boomerangs for tranking RGs. It will kill most, like a lot of low-level RGs. It will just kill. So that kind of sucks. But if they have 1 or 2 points into health, they do live. But you know, it's just like another level of gambling for speed, right? Anyway, at this point I'm just killing stuff to look for more trank arrows, and none of them have trank arrows. And then I'm just gonna leave the scorpions there to collect stuff, picking up hide, because we need a Rex saddle and an RG saddle. Gotta say, ASA makes it a lot easier having those headshots be an option with melee weapons. That's like, I can honestly carries half of the runs, is that you can hit things on the head. Yeah, so anyway, I think I just run up here and wait, is it up there? No, it runs somewhere else. This guy did. This guy ain't it. Yeah, so anyway, and then there's the level of the RG itself, not just the T-Rex that hurts. The RG hurts, because if it's a low level RG and you get hit by lightning wyverns, you will be knocked out. If it's, you can take fire wyverns if you manage your health. They aren't, like, they'll kill you, but they won't knock you out, because you can't recover from being knocked out, because you don't really have that much stim berries, right? So yeah, I don't know why I bothered with that, because you don't have stim berries. So I mean, anyway, too, if you're fighting a dragon and you go unconscious, like, you're doomed. Poison doesn't hurt that much, but it's still annoying. I forget if I catch these right away, but in just a split second we're gonna see, I think, 2 RGs will appear, or at least one of them. Yeah, there. 2. Now, like, I didn't see them before. I have no idea where they came from. They're just like there. Yeah, so there's just a lot of RNG throughout the run. Now, the thing that is, it's kind of boring here. It's just fighting with the different things. But then, like, I throw one boomerang, right? Yep. And it goes down. Now, if you're a real pro gamer, you should, like, if there's nothing around you here, you should force feed it, and for the first, you'll lose like 30 seconds, but force feed it for 30 seconds, and that will prevent it from being as easily killed by wildlife that just runs in and bites it, because it does almost die in a minute. But the other frustrating thing is, per what I alluded to a while ago and got sidetracked with, is that you'll notice that the Manticore has a 2 on it, right? So that counts how many times I've been there, as you probably have figured out. But if I beat the Manticore twice, why haven't I uploaded the runs? So yeah, so the first one lost the audio. It was very frustrating. And I mean, it's not the worst thing, but like, it's bad when it happens once. OBS reset after an update, and so just the defaults, so that kind of sucked. What sucked even harder though, I gotta say, was when I did it a second time. Cause like, you're already kind of tilted when that happens once, but when it happens a second time, cause you forgot to hit the record button, that's a lot worse. So I've still been trying since then, obviously, but it hasn't been as fruitful. So I got those 2 in my first 3 times making it to the Manticore, and then I believe I failed the Manticore 3 times after that, basically. So I've made it to the arena, and the T-Rex just went unconscious because yeah, anyway, so that's kind of why it's been 2 months and everything. It's just because it took a lot of time to do it 3 times, and because you need to beat each time, right? You can't just do it slower and then upload the slowest one. That's like that would somehow be worse than uploading the no audio run. So it is what it is. Just gotta live with it. It still isn't a perfect situation now, because like, I didn't really do any current commentary. At this point, we're crafting refining forges. So the reason is because we need the Rex saddle, right? But obviously we need to cook the metal, but there's not a lot of metal where I'm at, and it isn't worth trying to cook the metal at this stage. So this is where the whip is nice, over the sickle, is for the ability to pick up just so much stone so fast. So we do whip together, pun intended, these 3 forges. Because if you trank a Rex, you have barely enough time to put up a... Oh yes, I should explain that. You have barely enough time to put up a... 3 forges and a foundation and get metal cooking just in time to wait maybe 20 seconds for all the metal to be ready for the saddle, basically. Yeah, you have just enough time. When you do it at, I don't know what to call it, It's this one pointy rock that sticks out on the south. It's right next to where we spawn. It's always got T-Rex. Like you just go there, there's always T-Rex. And that is the spot where we go after this, after the dragon talons. We gotta go and grab the Rexes from that spot, because there's no other spot on the map that's got Rexes like that, and that has them as accessible as that to the obelisk, that is, because we do need to bring them to an obelisk. So like I said, there's no cryopod here. If there is a cryopod, we can do an edited version. When you're going over the mountains, when you have the dragon talons, there is a slight chance you'll see a Rex spawn beneath you. Now, it's very annoying looking to get the Rex out of that area, so I haven't tried it. And it's pretty rare to see one T-Rex, let alone a high level T-Rex. But theoretically, if you had everything for a cryopod, at that stage, you should be able to make a cryopod and ferry the Rex out directly to the obelisk. And the reason for that, the reason why it's yeah, just because it's closer, and so that's a time save. Maybe you don't need to go to the other obelisk. And oh yeah, this part is pretty interesting. Almost ended the run, but you know, it's a real shame that we lost our taming effectiveness on this level 1 RG. Yeah, it was a real shame. So yeah, there you go. I think at this point we've generally gone over the most important aspects of the overall run. And a decent bit of the nitty-gritty, kind of explaining why things are the way they are and kind of how this all plays out. It's not the same as playing Ark normally, that's for sure. It's almost like playing a different game, because you're a lot stronger, but like there's a lot of kind of just dumb handicaps that you have to live with the dinosaur levels. You get bonuses, right? Like my health, my weight, my stamina, and there's downsides as well. So it's very interesting way to play the game for me. We're just waiting for the Argentavis. There's nothing that happens here after this point. Just paranoia. We're very close to having it tame. So the next step is, if you aren't familiar with it, there's a cave just to the north. It's not quite just, but Scorched is pretty small, honestly, so it's not a long flight. So we'll pick up 3 notes along the way, and then we'll leave the RG outside the cave, and then we'll head into the cave. It's not perfect. Rock elementals spawn enough to ruin the run a significant amount of the time, which is unfortunate. Well, I haven't had one spawn just close enough, but I've had them spawn extremely close to forcing the RG to fight it. And saying is that they have a ranged option, it's very difficult to, you can't deal with them. So if the one spawns near the entrance to the cave and you don't have a cryopod, the run is kind of over. Another little micro thing that you can do is don't open the inventory while it's unconscious and then tames. The saddle icon doesn't appear right away, so you can't equip the saddle until it actually tames, and then you have to go in and out of it and so you lose like 2 seconds to that. So now another thing I should mention, because like if all the RNG stuff I mentioned at this point isn't enough, is the weather. Now I am just comfortable enough with map navigation and this map now at this point with this route to navigate by this weather, and I think it clears up a little bit. Yeah, it does. But if it's a sandstorm, it's too much. You can't do anything about a sandstorm. So initially I didn't really want people, like if I had to make the rules for making the speedrun.com leaderboard for this, I didn't really want people to be going in and out to the main menu and such. But I have recognized that it does serve a purpose. While we don't have to wait for artifacts like we have to do with ASE, which is where you could use it, going in and out to the main menu does reset the weather patterns, right? It resets if you're in a superheat event, and it resets if you're in a sandstorm event. And I think depending on what maps come out next, I'm looking at you, Irat Prime, with your probable cold weather events. I'm looking at, you know, Scorched. I'm looking at other maps of sandstorms, other maps of superheat, things like that. It does make sense to allow people to just go to their main menu and go back into the game. Now it is an unfortunate solution because it doesn't equalize people on different hardware. If you're running off of a hard drive, you would naturally be disadvantaged to be forced to do that. And you do take a penalty if your timer, because your timer should keep going if you have to do something like that. That makes sense, I think. So you take the time loss penalty, and you take the penalty of your drops resetting. I think honestly that might be the worst penalty, because it's a time saved not to deal with the sandstorm, because that just ends the run, and it's not fun to have run ending stuff that can happen at any point in the run and just instantly end it, like with just RNG. It's not very fun. So I feel like it's necessary, but you do lose your drops that you have spawned, and you have no way of knowing if those drops had very good items or if they were bad, right? And the drops that spawn afterwards, those are changed when you go in and out naturally. So there is definite downsides. As far as I know, there is no system for predetermining drops or anything like that. Just like I don't think there's any system that you could predetermine animal spawns. Like there's no seed system. So I don't think it matters too much because it's all kind of random anyway. But it's a little bit iffy, but I think it's got to be worth it for it. Now, thankfully, I didn't do that this run. There was no sandstorms. But there was a superheat event that got me down to 40 health, which is uncomfortable, to say the least. Yeah, we barely lived through that one, but I didn't want to eat the time penalty. So we have our level ups. We just distributed them. We need this RG to be fully combat capable against many dragons in succession. And believe it or not, we actually have already passed my best Graves of Tyrants. So those like RGs that I had at the beginning, if I had tamed one of those, we could be in a situation where we are at least a lot closer to my very best run, but in this case we were not close, so it's unfortunate. Yeah, so there's almost always a rock elemental around here. I didn't see one, or it didn't notice me on the way in. I'm noticing that ASA has a lot of the same creatures that spawn in the same spots repeatedly, having reset this so many times, whether it be the T-Rexes in those areas. And same thing with rock elementals, they're always in the same spots. Yeah, you'll learn them if you try to do this stuff yourself. I did get a little bit confused. I was like, is this the entrance? I couldn't tell. I decided probably not. Yeah, and then the weather just clears up magically right now. Yeah, so you don't want it to harvest when you fight the dragons. You'll slot cap on the prime, and at that point you won't be able to pick up the claws with auto pickup. Another tip is that you should not be picking up the talons. You shouldn't be hitting the wings. Sorry, that's a better way to put it. You won't pick up the talons if you hit their wings. So you need to have your RG's center of body to be within roughly a sphere of, it goes from the wyverns, kind of imagine the back of their head down to the middle of their tail, extending about halfway out from the wing tips. So that's kind of your circle. So back of head to middle of tail, maybe slightly higher up to mid wing, because if you're not within that radius, your Archie, you won't auto pick up. The bag will hang out in the air. You will not be able to pick up the loot. So it's very important that you always deliver the killing attack when the wyvern is very close to you. Very important. By the way, that little move of picking up the mantis, I think, is what lets me, yep, repair my armor. Or at least most, yeah, it does. And that saves me from the superheat that happens later. That like single-handedly saves this entire run. And it's all, I mean, that's always the case. Obviously, you can say that, you know, me picking up the artifact single-handedly saved the run for later. But in this case, it was sort of optional that I do that. I didn't really have to harvest the mantis, or even harvest it as quickly as I did, but it was definitely worth it. Another little note is don't accidentally eat the poly. I'm guilty of doing that, believe it or not, multiple times I believe, on Bristol Isles, I feel like. I did do a lot of runs there, but oh yeah, did I harvest it again? Oh yeah, okay, that was great. Funny enough, I already had the entire metal set that I literally just picked up, but I do, yeah, like that didn't end up being too helpful, but it was good. So yeah, I got my fill of organic poly at this point. Another axe. I'm hoping for a metal pick here. I can spend maybe 20 seconds because the metal pick would save like it would save some time. Over 20 seconds. But at this point I just stopped trying to roll for the metal pick. I also dislike that jump because I feel like someday I won't make it, and I'm not 100% sure which way to go after that. And you'll notice I do this thing here when I exit the cave where I save. The reason is because I find that the longer you go without saving on Scorched Earth ASA, the higher chance you have of crashing. Which is a very real thing that happens a lot. I get the DXGI device error removed error quite a bit, unfortunately. And there's nothing unstable with my computer, I don't believe, so it's just one of those things that you have to deal with. But with 5, Unreal Engine 5. So yeah, so now it's Dragon Talons. So that went pretty smoothly, honestly, that whole cave and everything. And we're making good time here too. You'll notice I'm 4 minutes ahead of my personal best. Not a gold split, but 4 minutes is pretty good. And this is me checking that for those Rexes that I mentioned earlier. I like to just know that they're there even if I can't really get at them. It does not seem like it would be fun to tame something and drag it all the way to the nearest obelisk out here. But if you had a crab pod, like I said, I think it might be viable. So anyway, what do I get here? It's preserving salt. Oh yes, this thing. No, I didn't end up fully recognizing everything that was in there for its utility value right away. The chainsaw I thought was going to be the most useful item, and it was useless. I don't know why I thought it would be useful. But the preserving salt actually was a massive time saver. Funnily enough, I never put it in the RG. I always just put it in everything but the RG. I don't know why. The oil jar isn't helpful, but yeah, the preserving bin and the narcotics I think I got there were so good. Oh, by the way, I think... Oh yeah, so... I think T-Rex are probably about the only viable creature. I do think probably pyramanes might be viable. But the thing is, taming them on Scorched sounds like it's a bad time. So, I haven't really looked at it as like a option. I'm not against using the premium creatures. The other one's like a Dreadmare, I think. Dreadmare? Is that right? Yeah. And I haven't actually played the game like a normal person since I've been playing like this for the last 9 months. So I haven't actually played with a Dreadmare, but I think they only come out at night, so that they're not viable at all. You'll notice that it's still daytime. Normally it would be nighttime by now on a normal day-night cycle, but I believe the easy setting extends the daytime cycle to 2 times its length. Now this is kind of like the dangerous area. You'll get the spread out wyverns back where it came from, but over here you're gonna fight a whole gang. So you can try to dodge it. It doesn't always work that good to dodge it. Fire kind of has just a big AoE and they let loose right away. So I just eat here. Even just a little bit helps a lot. But the lightning and poison are very easy to grab off the side here, so. That's 2 of each talon picked up, ready to go for the manticore. Save for crashing. There we go. So almost 6-minute time save over my personal best at this stage, which is pretty good. Not the best, not the worst. So now we're en route to our favorite activity, which is hunting for the T-Rex, right? Now, like I said, most T-Rex, it's a bell curve, so most T-Rex will be low level. Low level on this map, anything under 20, you can get away with like 18. Anything under 20, maybe I'd do 17. Like 16 under, too low level. And they easily make up at least 75% of the spawns you'll see will be underneath those levels. They make up the majority of the spawns, right? Whereas on like Ragnarok, you'd see equal level distribution, where every level is equal. Here you'll just see low levels, and then, yeah. I won't spoil what happens with the Rexes in this run. And you can do 2 Rex, you can do 1 Rex. I wouldn't do 3 Rex. 2 is... If you could get away with 1, I would get away with 1. If you got a high level Rex... high level. If you got like a level 30, I think 28, 27 higher level Rex, that will be able to solo on its own. Anything less, and you kind of want 2 Rexes, so you want them for the mate boost, and just to have twice the firepower. The mate boost is important, it does help, but when you have multiple Rexes, you're paying for multiple saddles, so it is risky, to say the least. I don't know why I went after the Aircopter, because I was kind of fishing for a metal pick still. I don't know why maybe I thought it was a Terrorbird or something, but still haven't quite gotten used to their new walking animations and stuff. Running animation. So you see the big pointy right in front of us. To the right of it, just hidden behind that mountain, is the T-Rex spawn point spot. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's at least 6 different T-Rex spawn points in that area. There's one on top of the dune, the tall dune that's closest. One on the far side. One down, if you're standing under the pointy rock and looking outwards. One to your left, down. Then there'll be one to your right, in the corner. So when you, I don't know, yeah, pull my map up. There's kind of like a corner-ish spot where the river kind of bends around. So at the top where it's the dunes, that's where we'll find one more spawn point. And then there's one that will be at the river base, just south of that spawn point. Or west of that spawn point. Just a little bit lower. And then there'll be one last spawn point south of that. So overall I've identified 6 different spots that seem to consistently pump out T-Rexes in that area. It's not perfect, but it does do the job. Like, there could be more of them, but it is just RNG based if you get them. I did have one run that was doing really good and I just could not get any T-Rex to spawn that were above level 5, so not much I could do. Oh, sorry, these are the wrong pointy rocks. There's like 2 sets of these pointy rocks. I mean the pointy rocks just over this mountain here. Which, by the way, I quite like these rocks. They're nice rocks. Oh, but if you wanted to know, there's also one Facilis spawn inside of that ruins area. And there's another Facilis spawn where the T-Rex are. So they're not as common as the T-Rex, but in the dune side, you will get Facilis spawns alongside the T-Rex spawns. There it is. So that's the pointy rock. That's one of them. And then the other one is to the right. So I'm just checking for river T-Rex. Because like I said, there's one by the river. So that second pointy rock that's just a little bit out, that to that closest pointy rock is the spawning kind of area, and then up to that dune mound. And one can spawn more or less directly underneath where I am right now. And oh, there. Sorry, that's the river Rex spot, as I call it. One can spawn directly back there too, but this is the most inland Rex spawn in this area. I believe this one's like pretty low level. Yeah, 8. It's not worth gambling, and I just wanted the prime, so prime and hide. So I didn't see another one, I don't think, so I went to go and grab that. I was just checking this area out. Do I remember getting anything good out of this? Oh, no, yeah, I didn't even bother. I thought about it, but I didn't need another refining forge. It's funny that even now, this is the funnest part, is just seeing where the Rexes spawn. Also, there is a rock golem somewhere here, so keep your eye out for that. Knowing when it does appear. Oh yeah, so I did not want the T-Rex fighting the vultures. So cue me defending and failing to hit that one for a while. 12, yeah. I always gotta make sure it's 12 and not 21. So normally I wait till I have one tranked. But in this case, I believe I just set it up right here. Yeah, I do. I decided it would be good, and it did end up saving the time that I set it up and got extra time to cook. Because of something that you'll see. Very convenient tree, by the way. And fuel consumption is set to 0.25, unfortunately, which prevents basically all shotgun tricks. And this ended up having a really good chunk of metal. Also, but saved a lot of time in this run. Without that, this run would have been either 1 minute, like either would have just matched my previous time or been slower. Because I still haven't shanked a Rex, remember. So I still have the 10-minute timer going on the Rex, basically. So I'm just checking the last spot. Sometimes they're over the hill. And a little leg spike. Let's see it just pop out the green guy. I was checking that area. Occasionally you'll see one there, but bing. High level. Surprisingly. This is not like super high level, but this is like cool. Yeah, I had enough time to shoot a second time there. I don't know what that was. Yeah, I should have just gone for a trinker here. Yeah, that, I don't know what that was, but going for a foot shot, I guess. There we go. That big thud. Okay, and this is where I use my brain. And I'm like, oh yeah, I could just put salt in there. Problem solved. So that's fun. Now I almost so I kept the drop in mind. I didn't end up picking it up. And at this point I'm just like, okay, so we have one. It's not perfect if you're gonna do one Rex, but I was thinking one Rex at this point because what are the chances, you know, that anything else happens, right? And for reference, I believe that one's a female. I had to take a brief interruption to the recording process here to do a little hiccup. But, yep, there it is. It's a high level, it's a 21 or 22, and it's an opposite gender to the one that we just found. So, I was very surprised, also very surprised to see the rock golem. That totally caught me off guard there. Barely escaped that one. And this one was also low level, so I just got rid of it. But yes, I apologize. My voice probably sounds slightly different. DaVinci lost the part of the recording somehow. Just some weird archaic glitch. Anyway, so at this point, realizing that there's a second Rex, the smart decision was make another saddle, right? Because the saddle adds so much survivability with the damage reduction that the amount of metal I have in these forges is not enough to make the saddle, right? So it's just quickly just get the metal, get it cooking, just get that ball rolling, well, then go and shank the second Rex, and then go from there. I just ignore this other Rex, it's not important. Okay, well, I thought I ignored it. Yeah. There's so many Rexes all throughout this, it's actually kind of crazy. Anyway, so about at this point, so we've got the saddle. I need to figure out how to trank the Rex without the rock golem interfering, basically. Which I assumed would have been significantly more difficult, but it ended up actually being pretty easy. So I just quickly double checked that the gender was correct here. Yeah, and it was correct. They were opposite gender. I remember, folks, T-Rex has a headshot multiplier, so make sure that you hit the head when you're tranquilizing them, not only to save resources, but to get them down faster. And that was a very bad shot, like barely missed, but yeah, anyway, so he goes down pretty fast. It's not that bad, yeah. And thankfully, the rock golem never interferes with the run, because they are sort of in, I believe I mentioned earlier, like an obstacle that you can't remove. If they're in the wrong spot, it can kind of ruin the run. I'm still surprised that I had the presence of mind at this point still to... Like, obviously I couldn't bring the other meat because it would have spoiled, because it was half down. But I had the presence of mind to put the salt in the Rexes, but not in the bird. It's kind of crazy to me. Yeah, just checking the metal count because we need 50 ingots for Rex saddle. Yes, there's the other purplish black T-Rex that I was thinking of originally. I don't believe that anything particularly interesting happens here, other than this, like just the scraping together the saddle. Very interesting is that one of the biggest time losses still has to happen in this run. Hasn't happened yet. It's actually been fairly smooth once we got past the beginning part. Not the smoothest, but fairly smooth. But the time loss that got... It would not have been sub 130, but it would have been really close to sub 130 if it was a... if it didn't happen. I don't know why I just assumed I could do that, but... I don't know. Or why I thought an axe would be a good idea, like just to save time with harvesting. I should have just used a pike there. Oh, and there is the heat. So the heat doesn't kill me. I think I said that before, but it does get very close. And I do, once again, apologize for the heat stroke. There's not a lot that you can do about the heat stroke. Like, it just will make the video look horrible. You kind of just have to deal with it like it is. Yes, I don't have the hide. That's not really like a lot of a concern, but it's like a little bit of a concern, but not a lot. At this point, it's just boring old micromanaging the forges. By the way, so there's I don't end up using a few different like objects like the chainsaw, so probably in future runs there's no reason for me to keep certain objects, but I'm still trying to feel that out at this stage. Regardless, at this point I'm just rolling over to this Rex here. Oh yeah, and I just randomly go after this vulture. Like, oh right, for the hide, of course. But I didn't need to, and all it does is, like, I should have gone for this snake right there. Which you can see that I like point towards for a split second, because I was going to go for it. But now there's vultures attacking, and just didn't really need to do that. Drinking water was probably a smart move there, because if I had to deal with water issues, I mean, the water is 0.25, so it's not like that much of a water issue, but yeah. Yeah, there, the paranoid saving. You might notice it's kind of been ramping up lately. Anyway, so this next bit, it's going to be slightly boring-ish, and then it's going to hit the next time loss, which was T-Rex pathfinding. So in the past I've had decent T-Rex pathfinding, but it's kind of sucked this run. Like, at least a minute and a half was lost to it, unfortunately. That just is how it is, but since I'm only got one Rex, there was no need for me to do like whistle forward, just because I'm not going anywhere without the other Rex, right? So there's no point in fast navigation like that. Regardless, I'm beelining it for this one because of the XP. Oh, I still hate that glitch with the UI where it shows the wrong animal. That and the fact that they hold R to do blank is non-dynamically adjustable. Like, I have my button set to V, because R is my inventory button. When it says R, it sometimes messes me up for removing those pings quickly. Oh yeah. Since it's sort of boring, I think I already talked about the manticore and all that fun stuff. One thing I don't think I mentioned is that from what I've seen on Red on the internet, and more importantly what I've seen in testing, is that generally speaking, you don't want to bring a flyer into the manticore arena if you're relying on a ground animal to beat it, basically. Because the manticore seems to not land as frequently when you do have an air animal that's in existence. And it doesn't even seem to be that, like, it needs to be aggroed to their animal. It just does not seem to land as much at all. even unconscious air animals seem to trigger that part of it. There we go. Notice my health. We are about halfway. So like, we're not doing that good. Unfortunately. It's all fine. So anyway, cue the clown mess of T-Rex pathfinding. So like it had every way to pathfind here, that T-Rex behind us. And do you think it was able to? Nope. Yep, somehow just, even with the ASA pathfinding stuff that it's supposed to have, it somehow managed to get itself stuck on the exact perfect angle that would prevent it from moving. It's actually crazy that it managed to find that one angle that would prevent it from moving. And I go to just one shot these guys, and it's about here where I feel the lack of melee on these. But we do want to put 1 point into health as fast as possible to get their healing going, basically, for the boss fight, because you have less than 10 minutes. And this is where the heat stroke gets kind of gross. So I was quite frustrated at this point, because you'll notice like the T-Rex are coming, but you see the one in the back? Like he's stuck, and then I think he freed himself, right? So I turned back this way. And almost immediately, they got stuck again. So that's like, okay, they're walking, and then they're stopped. Because they're fighting with something. And it's so annoying at this point, because you've seen how much I was stopped, right? And so you're like, okay, so they killed the thing, so surely they're walking back, but nope. They're just, like I thought they did, because I heard the eating noise. And it didn't. It's still eating. So yeah, I think it's fair to say that pathfinding cost me like a minute and a half here, and I didn't even harvest whatever it was there. Like, don't even know what caused that issue. Anyway, thankfully pathfinding is okay from here on out, but like it could have been so much better. So I don't know if the trick is to learn some route to try to do what I'm doing here, just clear out a vague little path for them, or what, but like it kind of sucks, dude. And it doesn't help that at this point the no, it's not quite panic, but like the, like, you know, chop chop, let's go kind of feeling is setting in, because I need to get to the oasis, right? Because around the water the heat drops, but if you have to be outside of it, you're hot. And at this point I have, I'll still say 100 health, but it's not looking good at all. It's pretty poor. They do a decent job here. It's a little bit frustrating what they do next, because, well, it's my fault too, but I accidentally bring them this way, so I go up here and I want them on the cliff because I need to get into one of them, at least into the rib cage. And then they're on the cliff, and then one walks off the cliff. Anyway, at least one stays sort of up there. So, and if you're wondering why we eat trees, generally for whatever reason the harvesting multi for XP is set high enough. When you have high melee damage, you seem to get decent amounts of XP off of these trees. Well, the melee damage has to OKO, the harvesting health. And the amount of harvesting health you deal is how much XP you get, right? So, anyway. Come on. Back to XO, pivot, and yep. I have done this like a lot before, so I am familiar with the pivot with that. Anyway, we're so close now. So close to the end of this. I think I just munch on some Morella tops here, which are decent XP. The most XP is like Parasiers are pretty good XP. Yeah, so the target things that you want is at least 5,000 health on each. I guess because I'm not explaining it in real time. Alongside, you want about 5,000 melee. If you have one of them, you can get away with 5,000 and 6,000 melee. With two of them, you could get away with like 4,000, 4,000, or 5,000, 3,000. Yeah, what you really want is the what you really want is like the combined 8,000 melee. If you have two of them, is pretty decent. Just some more trees. We ended up making a full loop-de-loop around the entire oasis, but there's only 2 more minutes, I believe, before I enter the boss battle. So I just need to get that damage up, because it isn't high enough to take out the Manticore. Oh yeah. So we're at 4,000, 3,000 I believe, which is about 7,000 combined melee. Which is decent, but like, could be better. Since I'm gonna ride the red one, I do want more stamina on that thing. Okay. Did I just leave it at 2,700? I think I might do one more level up on this thing at some point. Yeah, I think I do one more. But after that, I just stop. It only needs like one more tree to level up. I could have just gone for the boss fight here, but I was like, let's be a little bit extra careful. We missed the Yeah, 3 level ups, that's like 400 extra. 2 level ups would have been 400 extra on the other one, so I just stopped investing into this Rex and just go to get this one trained up here. Okay, well, anyway. If you've watched up to this point, or even if you skipped ahead, doesn't matter to me. I make these videos more for my own fun than anything. But thank you for watching. Oh yeah, this got me so much XP, even though I slot capped. Yeah, those 10 level ups basically saved the run. But yeah, after this, I'll just leave you with the smidgen of live commentary that I actually did for this run, which starts in like 30 seconds. So yeah, that's it for this portion of the run. Have fun watching the rest. Here goes nothing. Oh my goodness, this made to core RNG. We're about to go down. All I need is one more nibble. Come on. One more. One more. One more. One more. One more. Look at the torpor. Oh boy. Oh boy. Man, it's 2 months long of waiting. We got that. Ugh. All it took was probably the best RNG I've gotten Rex phase. Twice. You guys had no idea how long that took. 34, baby. Third time. 130. That's not even a bad. That's good. 88 attempts. Recording better be working this time.